The excavation where they've added is probably above this line.
Right.
So they put the line in there so you will know, and future generations will know, what was the original down below it and what has been added to help with the restoration.
Did you see a gate like this before?
Where'd you see a gate like you just seen?
Megiddo.
Till Megiddo.
Yeah. Identical, same period, perfect.
So this is Iron Age, and when you think of Iron Age, it's very easy to remember Iron Age around the time of David. So about 1,000, and she mentioned the other day, the ones who in this part of the world understood how to work with iron were who? The Philistines. Philisti. They had a monopoly on it and wanted to keep it that way. If Israel had any iron, came into possession of any, how'd they get it sharpened?
They had to go
Philistines.
They had to go to the Philistines, and the Philistines knew that. That kept them dependent upon the Philistines. Also, they were the only ones with iron armor. David didn't have any iron armor. Who had it in Israel? Only two men. Who were they?
Saul.
The king and his son. And his son. Now, the giant, Goliath obviously had it. Why? What was he?
He was a Philistine.
He was a Philistine. He was a Philistine. So he had the iron. They were a very, very advanced people, the Philistines. They came over from Greek islands. They came through Cyprus. They settled in Canaan. And the reason was they came here when Canaan was at a low point. They could easily settle on the coastline, but their intention was to go into Egypt. That's really what they wanted to do. So they intended to go down to Egypt, but Egypt was in an intermediate period. There's the three kingdoms of Israel, of Egypt, three major periods: the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and what?
New Kingdom.
The Late Kingdom, or the New Kingdom. Three. Between the three kingdoms were what they call intermediate periods. Okay? Each intermediate period was a weak period. When the Philistines came here, it was during the weak period, one of the intermediary periods between the three strong kingdoms that would be in Egypt. So they came in during a weak time, so therefore their plan was, we've been displaced by the sea peoples in Messini or Troy, or all in that part of the world. We could come here on the sea coast temporarily, but we're going to go into Egypt. And we're going to capture Egypt, and that'll be our home. They go there and they fight, and even though it was a weak period in Egypt's existence, Egypt could not win, but neither could the Philistines.
Right.
It was a draw. Since it was a draw, nobody lost. So the Philistines still have their power, but the Philistines, I'm telling you, they're brilliant people. They had sea power. They're the ones who invented the crow's nest. The Philistines invented the crow's nest in a ship. So they then say, we'll have a naval battle. Guess what happened to the naval battle? A draw. Nobody wins. But nobody loses. But the Philistines know that they're not going to get into Egypt. So what are they going to do?
Stay here.
Just stay where they are. Oh, we've already been camping over there on the coastline, and why don't we just go ahead and build there? After all, it just so happened, and I know all this under the providence of God, the Canaanite lands were in a weak period. Isn't that amazing? So it set it up for the Philistines to be here. At the very time that on the other side, somebody is coming up with a group of people around the Jordan and getting ready to cross over to the Jordan from the east to the west into Israel. Who was it? Joshua. The Israelites. It wasn't long there would be a clash of the two. So you understand that, you begin to understand something about the different ages and the Philistines, the type of people they were. They were a very brilliant people. Now they had possession of iron. What did David have to fight with Goliath? A sling. Stones. Well, he had plenty of them to pick, didn't he? So he had the stones. I have pottery of Israelite pottery from David's day. It's a round bowl about like this, very crude. I also have I don't have. I wish I had. In my dreams, I have Philistine pottery. I would love to have Philistine pottery. It's very expensive. It's hard to get. Very expensive.
When we go to Jerusalem, even if you don't buy at the Israel Museum, there's a shop. That's why I told you, there you have everything, and they have also a lot of antiquities. I'll show you there the difference. Not only that, the Philistines also brought glass to this area.
Their pottery is beautiful, colored, very ornate. They were a cultured people. They were not a backward people at all. So here you have the Israelites coming in. They've been a nomadic people for all these years. And yet the Philistines are very, very advanced. They could have been intimidated easily. And that's why they believed in, the Philistines believed in champion-to-champion fighting. That's why Goliath said, hey, no use in 2 armies fighting, I'll fight, send your man out. And they were totally intimidated. They'd never heard of fighting like that. Just send one man out for your whole army? And winner take all? So they were all on the other side acting like they never heard Goliath when he spoke. Until little David came. And David had a greater cause. Did he not?